I'm going to take you through all the new, exciting, and not so good information about Assassin's Creed Shadows so you can decide if this is a game that is worth your attention. Speaking of which, your time is very important to me, so let's get stuck in straight away and start with the release date, because when is this game actually coming out? Well, that date has officially been announced by Ubisoft as November the 15th, which lands on a Friday, and as for general information, it will only be available on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Amazon Luna, PC through the Ubisoft Connect and Epic Game stores, and interestingly on Mac computers if you do have a new Mac that can handle it. Additionally, if you are subscribed to a Ubisoft Plus premium subscription, you will get this game on day one with no further expense needed. Now, there was a bit of an uproar in the community recently since this was announced about the game requiring an internet connection to play, as stated on the PlayStation Store website, but Ubisoft have confirmed officially that you will need an internet connection to install the game, but not actually to play it, which is good news. But the reason why we need it in the first place will be because of the day one patch to sort out last minute bugs on release day, so it hopefully runs smoothly. Now, it's important to me to provide you with all the need to know info about this game, which is why I'm going to take you through the 3 different game editions Ubisoft is offering you. And I'm also not the type of guy to tell you what to do with your money. I'm just not about that at all. That is up to you. But if you are considering pre-ordering the game, I would recommend doing so after we actually see some gameplay at Ubisoft Forward in a few weeks' time, so you have a more comprehensive understanding on what you're getting for your money in this next AC installment. That said, the standard edition here is coming in at £59, 69 euros and $69 for my American friends. And speaking of which, if you do purchase this edition at Best Buy in the States, you will get a free lithograph set, as you can see here. Now, for our gold edition, this is coming in at a steep £94, 109 euros and dollars, with the ability to play the game 3 days early, which lands on Wednesday the 12th of November. You'll also get a season pass, which grants you automatic access to the 2 new expansions that will release after launch, which will be coming in around 12 months if Valhalla was anything to go on. And we've got the Ultimate Edition here, where it gets even spicier, because just like Star Wars Outlaws recently announced, this is coming in at a hefty £114, so £115 essentially, 129 euros and $129, and you get everything that we've just gone through, but you'll also pick up a Sekiro character skin pack for Naoe and Yasuke. You'll also get a Sekiro hideout pack, and I'll explain what hideouts are a little later on in this video. You'll also get 5 skill points to start the game with, which I'll also go into more detail shortly, and a red dragon photo mode filter confirming that the photo mode mechanic will indeed be in the game from launch. Now, if you do decide to pre-order any of these editions, you will get a bonus quest called Thrown to the Dogs, which Ubisoft likes to release in Ubisoft Connect for everyone to play several months after initial game's release, just as an FYI. And in my opinion, I would say do not pre-order just for the bonus mission, because it's just not worth doing so. And it doesn't stop there, because Ubisoft have also announced their collector's edition alongside these 3 tier editions, and let's take a look at that now, because it's coming in at £239, 279 euros and $279 at the time of recording. And for that price, you will come away with a 40cm model of Naoe and Yasuke fighting side by side on the battlefield with weapons that are unique to them in game. You'll also pick up a steel bookcase, which I won't lie to you, I think this does look pretty decent visually as far as steel bookcases go, alongside this 84-page art collector's book from the dev team and 2 lithographs created by Japanese artist Yoshi Wakwe. On top of that, you'll grab a life-size katana tsuba, which is the custom sword guard that mounts above the katana grip, which comes with its own stand. Looks pretty sweet, to be honest with you, as well as a world map of the game, which displays the distinct regions that we can explore, as well as specific points of interest that we will want to visit ourselves in the game left there by the dev team. And finally, the Creed wall scroll, which I think this is my favorite here, because it reads, "From vengeance to solidarity, from darkness to light, a new creed rises over Japan," which is made of a fabric and a wooden frame. Looks really premium. Well, we won't know until we kind of get it in our hands, but you know what I mean. It looks pretty decent. And to be honest with you, actually, as far as collector's editions go, this does seem pretty solid to me from an objective standpoint, because the pre-order editions are wildly overpriced, whereas this seems pretty good value for money compared to other collector's editions that we've seen recently from other studios, and I'm not going to name names now. But let's move on to the storyline and the main protagonists of this game, as it takes place in feudal Japan in 1579 and continues into the early 1580s, which means that this is the first game to feature assassins and Templars in the classic form since Assassin's Creed Syndicate released back in 2015, so nearly 10 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. It's also an incredibly pivotal setting in Japanese history, as it's the last time the samurai would fight any major battle with one another, as well as being the last time that they would have a very strict military role and responsibility throughout the country. Which also means that we will see prominent historical figures in this game like Oda Nobunaga, who was known as one of the great unifiers of Japan and will play a very important role in both protagonist stories in this game, according to Ubisoft. Now, our first protagonist is Naoe, who is a shinobi assassin from the Iga Province, who was trained by her father, master shinobi ninja Fujibayashi Nagato, who was a real person, with Naoe looking to avenge her Iga home in this game after it was razed to the ground by Nobunaga's forces. Speaking of which, this is where Yasuke comes in, who was likely born in Mozambique in Africa and was subsequently brought to Japan as a slave by the Portuguese, and according to Ubisoft became a samurai in the employment of Oda Nobunaga, which is how these two characters meet and become allies, but we don't know exactly why they do team up as this dynamic duo at the moment. Now, Jonathan Dumont, the creative director, has stated that we can actually switch between both characters at any time we want in the game, and I think that is a great transition onto exploration now, because as confirmed by Jonathan, the map size is similar in size comparatively to AC Origins, which, for further context and for ease of watching, and of course if my editing skills are up to the job, Origins is around 80 kilometers squared, with Valhalla coming in at around approximately 94 kilometers squared if we get rid of the sea. So if I switch Origins here out for a picture of the map from the collector's edition, this is kind of what we're looking at here for size comparatively to the most recent AC open world game, that of course being Valhalla. Now, as for Japan's regions, they will all be based on real historical provinces such as Iga, which was the shinobi's home, and Omi, which was an agricultural powerhouse for Japan in that time period. That said, Jonathan did state to IGN in a recent interview that they wanted to have a closer to real life scale ratio when exploring around the world. So the map will feel dense and busy, with certain locations like towns, trading ports, castles, and urban buildings rendered at a 1-to-1 scale, so it feels real and immersive. But what really caught my attention was the dynamic weather system which Ubisoft announced, which is tailored to each region, with NPCs reacting differently to deep fog, thunderstorms, or howling winds, meaning that we can use that to our advantage in stealth, but that also means that hiding in certain bushes in the spring season subsequently means that we won't be able to hide there in winter because it will just be branches. So the world actually changes throughout the seasons and impacts our gameplay choices, which does sound pretty sick, I'm not going to lie to you. Now, if you are enjoying this quickfire breakdown so far, please do leave a very swift like down below, and I'm also running an AC Shadows game giveaway. You just need to be a subscriber of the channel to enter, and I will pop that link down below. So cheers for your support and good luck to you. Now, combat, let's go over some new details about that, because historically this era is all about the Japanese Civil War, and that means constant fighting between clans, which also means no samurai ran around with a shield to protect themselves, as it could have been seen as dishonorable, and that's reflected in this game according to Ubisoft. Now, in a follow-up interview with IGN, none of the gear we equip in game provides us with any sort of defensive bonus. In fact, dodging and positioning yourself correctly matters a whole lot more against NPCs. So for example, Yasuke is only able to use his weapon to block a limited amount of incoming attacks and parries, but Naoe, being the more smaller, nimble shinobi ninja, cannot engage in combat in the same way that Yasuke can, as he wears his big boy samurai armor, meaning that she can't block or parry incoming attacks against other big boy samurai, but she can only counter them and then run away. This also means that you will have to pick and choose your battles when playing both characters, as each of them has their own advantages and disadvantages in combat. And if you've played Valhalla and Mirage recently, I think that's a good comparison here from what we've been told so far, as in Mirage, Bassam gets nuked pretty fast by NPCs, and there's also an emphasis on him to run away to then reset back into stealth instead of remaining in open combat, whereas Eivor in Valhalla can take a physical beating and shrug off 30 NPCs at once. So expect something similar here, split between both characters in Shadows, and not just one character being a juggernaut slash super shinobi assassin, all amalgamated into just one protagonist. That's not how it's going to work here. Now, if we can switch back and forth between these two characters, what are the benefits of doing so? As in, what kind of weapons or gadgets do they actually have that we can then utilize against specific NPCs? Well, Yasuke has been confirmed to be able to wield a katana, which is your standard samurai sword, as well as a okatana, which is around 6 to 10 inches bigger than a katana, kind of like a Japanese claymore, as well as a kanobo, which is a spiked two-studded war club, and a naginata, which was a long wooden pole arm, which you may have seen before in Japanese media, as it was used a lot by the samurai in this time period. He's also been confirmed by Ubisoft to be able to wield a arquebus matchlock rifle, which is his long-range option here in this game. But for all intents and purposes, if you want to hack and slash in AC Shadows, Yasuke is your guy for the job. Now, as for our shinobi ninja Naoe, she's confirmed to be able to wield a hidden blade, which has the dual option of turning it into a tanto, which is an extremely sharp dagger and can be used in combat, unlike the most recent AC games, as well as being equipped with a kunai and shuriken, which are two types of throwables to kill enemies at range, and of course smoke bombs, so we can escape or utilize the smoke as a distraction, just like in Mirage as an example most recently. Now, not only that, but the grappling hook returns from Syndicate here to parkour our way up over the open world, which Yasuke won't actually have access to. And for some close combat fighting, Naoe has the option of the kusarigama, which was a sickle weapon attached to a ball and chain, as you can see here. Now, what's interesting about all of these weapons is each one will have their own skill tree, so you can upgrade and improve a specific weapon that you enjoy playing with to then maximize its offensive potential, with Yasuke and Naoe sharing XP between them, collected weapons found in the world, and in-game resources. But distinctively, they do have separate skill trees, kind of like Spider-Man 2 if you played that game, where you could either focus on Miles or Peter, depending upon your own preference. So expect something similar, well, in a similar format, I should say, here in this game. Now, what about parkour? Well, we don't actually have too much info released by Ubisoft on that front yet. And because it's such a big staple of the Assassin's Creed franchise, I do imagine that they're probably holding off releasing too much info about it until Ubisoft Forward in a couple weeks' time, which is where I'm guessing we will see a full gameplay demonstration. That said, creative director Jonathan Dumont has stated that the grappling hook has enhanced the parkour experience in this game, with the grapple being physics-based. And what he meant by that, well, what he went on to say, or to clarify to IGN, is that there is a genuine danger to us using it, as it could not go as we intend it to. And he did confirm that you can actually perform assassinations from it, which does sound like a lot of fun. So I'm very intrigued about this, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of cool kill cams from the community if it does indeed work as intended. Now, as for another big movement change, though, we have official confirmation that we can now go prone and then crawl along the ground in this game, allowing us to get through small openings in buildings or walls, and it of course also being utilized as a stealth mechanic in game, which does sound great. In fact, I am surprised that it hasn't been included in any AC game thus far, especially as Tom Clancy's Breakpoint game, another Ubisoft game, allows you to blend in with the environment when you went prone. So it is good to see that this is becoming an Assassin's Creed mechanic here as well. Now, as for stealth, we do have a brand new global illumination system being implemented in this game, which means, according to the developers, that this new dynamic light and shadows all bounce around the open world and affect enemy vision in real time, which means that we can hide literally in the shadows from guards and not be spotted, as well as create darkness by extinguishing lights, lanterns, or killing people walking through towns holding flame torches. There's also this new type of NPC called servants that Ubisoft state are in between civilians and enemies. So they're kind of the grey man, so to speak, as they can't fight us in game, but they can call reinforcements and raise alarms if we're disrupting their way of life. Additionally, we have confirmation that we can have a pacifist focused playthrough if we want to, as we can knock people out during stealth takedowns instead of just killing them, which I imagine would be a great in-game challenge. And speaking of which, the drone-like bird, which we've seen in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, to get up in the sky and scout areas and mark enemies won't be returning in shadows. We'll actually have to set up our own reconnaissance hideout to explore the world on the ground, which is a great transition onto that topic now, because Jonathan Dumont, the creative director, went on to confirm that Naoe has access to a network of shinobi spies and people that help her, but also are willing to trade for information, which means that we can build up our very own spy network by hiring agents and sending them out on missions to gather intel on our targets throughout the world. Very similar in many respects to Brotherhood, and I have been waiting too long for Ubisoft to kind of re-include this mechanic in their games, and I do hope they knock it out of the park and it's got some real depth here, because one of the benefits of setting up a spy network is you can build your own hideout and customize it to your liking, just like Villa Auditore back in the old days, and you original gangsters will know exactly what I'm talking about there. And then with this hideout constructed, you can then maximize your intel to then discover hidden targets and secrets around the world that then feed into the main non-linear campaign, which Jonathan states is focused on identifying, tracking, and bringing down these specific targets. So not going from mission A to mission B or point A to point B, essentially. It seems that we're kind of crafting our own story through this hideout, which does sound pretty encouraging, to be honest with you, but we definitely need to see some gameplay to get a real feel on what they're going for here, and we can make a full appraisal and assessment then. Now, there was also a lot of new information and secrets in the recent announcement trailer, which I didn't really cover in this video, so give it a click on your screen right now to be fully up to date with all the recent Assassin's Creed Shadow announcements. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy that one too. Thanks to Nika for helping me on this video. Sake is on her, and hopefully I'm going to catch you in that next video in just a moment. Cheers for stopping by.